Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there is a lot to get into in today's podcast. Skip and Shannon, let's debate.
Hey.
What are you laughing at?
I'm just...
You laughing at my Spurs?
No.
I told you yesterday it was going to happen. Your Spurs are going to win tonight. I said I'm going to call you on. I'm not going to bet you on it, but I'm going to call you on it to start this show, and I'm calling you on it because they got blown out of their own building by the Golden State
Can I tell you a funny story, Skip?
It better be.
I went and got a massage yesterday.
Great.
This Asian lady, and she's like, "What you do with all these muscles?" I say, I beat a little white guy up on television all day. Yeah. She asked, "Does he have muscles like you?"
Yeah.
I say, "No, he's small." He say, "You no fair." He got to have muscles.
Did you say that the little white guy's in way better shape than you're in?
No, because that's not the case.
Okay, because then you would have told the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
She say, "You no fair."
Hey, yeah.
I know it's not fair, Skip, but I got to do it.
No fair.
Got to do it. Hey, Joy, how you
Don't
doing?
start shit. I'm good. I'm good.
You wore black today. You skipped in the morning?
No, I'm wearing Spurs colors, out of respect. Out of respect.
They going home in heat.
Well, let's get it started with the Warriors. They swept the Spurs last night and are heading to their third straight NBA Finals. Steph Curry had 36 points and Kevin Durant added 29. The Warriors are a perfect 12-0 in the playoffs, the first team to do that in NBA history. Take a listen to Greg Popovich and Draymond Green after the game.
You never come into the playoffs expecting like, oh, man, we're going to sweep every series, but it's a great thing. But at the end of the day, had we went 4-3, 4-3, and 4-3, we'd still be in the same position. So, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean too much. It means we got a little more rest. We played a few less games. But, it's not like you get some trophy or something for being undefeated, throughout the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. It's like I've said it before, it's about winning the championship. And we're 4 games away for that. Now, if that's 4-0, great. If it's 4-3, great. It doesn't matter how you get those 4 wins as long as you get them, and that's our goal.
This is, maybe the best defensive team in the league on top of everything. So they don't just play with talent. They execute at the defensive end of the floor. On offense, no team is more unselfish. They deserve a lot more credit than, well, they're talented, they're supposed to win. That is disrespectful to them in my book. They're way, way more than just their talent.
Skip, could these Warriors be the best team ever?
I will admit I'm still a little bit raw over what just happened to my San Antonio Spurs, but I'm going to give Golden State this. From what I've been seeing, the way they've been playing, they have a chance to prove they're the best team ever. And I did agree with Coach Popovich's assessment that you just heard. I don't think this team is getting quite enough credit for just how well it plays on the defensive end and how unselfishly it plays on the offensive end, because it is a pleasure to watch them play, and sometimes it's awesome watching them play, because when they are clicking on offense, as they were last night, when Steph and Kevin Durant are trading shots, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, it's an overwhelming display of unselfish and high-level basketball. So if they go on to sweep LeBron out of the finals, if they go 4-0 against LeBron, I think we're going to have a lot of conversation about just how they rank all time, and you might want to put them at the top. I personally do not think they will be able to sweep LeBron and company in the finals. If, in fact, LeBron and company do get to the finals, we'll talk about that later. But I'm going to give Golden State this much. No matter how injured or undermanned their opponents have been through these playoffs, they have no cruise control in them. When they have a supreme advantage, they take full advantage. They step on your throat. They have serious killer instinct. And I admire it because you don't always see this from a team this talented. Mm-hmm. And last night, obviously, my Spurs were very undermanned without 2 former Finals MVPs, Kawhi, Tony Parker, and then without David Lee, who's been a real spark off the bench. But Golden State just said no right from the start. It was 31 to, 19 at the end of the first quarter, and that was the end of that game.
Right.
And when Steph made that one trick shot, could we just please see that on Jonathan Simmons? This is just unfair when he makes a shot like this. Here he goes, here he comes, Steph, driving on Jonathan Simmons. Wait, it went in off the glass? How did you, that's a Globetrotter shot. That's when I sat back and said, I yelled to Ernestine. I said, that's unfair. Because she was telling me they're going to have a shot. No, they're not going to have a shot. Well, Shannon said they're going to have a shot. Don't listen to him. He's never right. So the point is, I'm with Coach Pop. They don't probably get enough credit. But my issue with Golden State remains from day one. I said it from the start of the season. How will Steph and Kevin perform under pressure down the stretch of a tight playoff game? Guess what, America? We don't know because we haven't gotten to see that yet because they have not been tested. And this is what just tears my guts out about this NBA playoff season so far. The injury gods have decided it because obviously Golden State in round one didn't have to play against a Nurkic who had made Portland a real threat, I thought, to Golden State. He broke his leg. Round two, not that Utah was any big threat to Golden State, but George Hill, their point guard, got hurt and missed the last couple of games. And then we know what happened in the conference finals that we just witnessed, that I had to watch after game one. My Spurs were merely ahead by 23 points with 7:53 left in the third quarter when Zaza did pull off, I'm sorry, Zaza, I'm going to say it one last time, a dirty play by a dirty player. Kawhi stepped on the size 19 sneaker that he slipped under Kawhi as he was coming down from a jump shot, and the rest is painful history for me because without Kawhi, they blew the 23-point lead, and then that was the end of that. And Coach Popovich made his concession speech the next day and talked about what a great season we have had, past tense, and that's how the team played the rest of the games against Golden State. I will go to my grave saying my Spurs would have beaten this Golden State team in 7 games if they had had a healthy Kawhi Leonard and had obviously won game one. They opened the season by winning by 29 at Golden State, and it brings back that litany of games I've told you about all year long. With a healthy Kevin Durant, trying to figure it out with Steph, they had Golden State 9 head-scratching losses through the year. And I'm not going to pile on today because this is their day. They are the conference champions. But you know what happened when they blew a 24-point lead at home to Memphis and lost by 9 in overtime? And then they went to Memphis and lost by 21, and they lost by 32 at Denver. And we know what happened on Christmas Day. We know. At LeBron's house. They led by 14, and they could not hold a 14-point lead, and Kyrie beat them at the buzzer.
Stop, Skip.
Well, he did. Did he not make the shot over Klay Thompson? That was the shot of the year in the NBA to me.
Oh, what about this shot that, just hit? Avery Bradley. That wasn't the shot of the year?
Well, that was the luckiest shot of the year. But Kyrie's was not lucky. It was sweet, and it was clean.
Did LeBron play?
He played. He hung on the rim. Should have gotten a tech at the end of the game, but that's okay. No, he played, and he played well. But Golden State did not play well because they couldn't figure out, is it your turn, is it my turn, how to close that game. So we just went through 3 rounds of the playoffs, 12 games, and we did not see them get tested the way, dare I say, they're going to get tested by LeBron and company in the finals at least once or twice, because I'm going to say it again, LeBron has had their number. Cleveland has had Golden State's number in the finals. We can talk about that a little more, but again, they have a chance to prove me wrong, to show me up, to show me they can close games, and if they sweep your Cavaliers, we're going to have a big conversation about this.
You mentioned something about killer instinct. You say this is a talented basketball team, but when they have the decided upper hand, they show killer instinct. Would you say the 2001 Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, did they have the killer instinct? They went through the playoffs, lost 1 game, the first game in the finals to Allen Iverson. I
don't know. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and check it out. What's your point?
No, hold on, Skip. I'm just 96 Bulls, 72-10. Would you say they had killer instinct?
Yeah, they had a lot more competition than if you're going to say LeBron.
Whoa, Skip. This is
LeBron's in the same boat as Golden State. In the same boat.
I didn't interrupt you.
Neither side has had any competition.
Judge, can you
Injury gods have decided the playoffs.
Shannon, you get very confusing because you
ask questions and then you don't want me to answer. Then you answer your own questions.
No. I want you to answer, not go on a diatribe trying to
I know where you're going. And
I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for the next 2.5 hours. I'm not going anywhere.
It's so transparent that I'm going to answer the way I'm going to answer, not the way you want me to answer.
I'm just trying to figure, first of all, Skip, they haven't won anything yet. Since when did they hand out the Larry Brown Trophy at the end of the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference Final?
Well, they won 12 straight games in the West.
Okay.
Okay.
Weren't we having this same discussion last year about this time? A team that was 73-9 had a unanimous MVP, back-to-back MVPs. The last time you won it was unanimous. Didn't we have this very discussion last year? Yes or no? You can answer.
I can?
Yeah.
We did not have this discussion because all through the playoffs, right away, what happened? The two-time MVP hurt his knee, and it looked like he hurt it pretty badly because he had to miss games. Remember that? And he came back against Portland.
So we did not have the discussion.
And I kept saying, does he need surgery? Is he limping? What is he doing?
I don't know. Well, look, at your old show, you guys had this conversation, and I heard every analyst say, if they win the championship this year with a 73-9 record, they will go down. They're better than the 96.
Okay, maybe we had those conversations going into the playoffs before Steph got hurt. Go ahead.
And so my thing is, why is it that if LeBron goes 12-0 in the Eastern?
No, it's always.
Skip. I'm just asking a question. This is for the people at home. This is not for you because I don't want you to answer yet. If LeBron goes 12-0 in the East, the competition is inferior. The Warriors go 12-0. In the West, no Nurkic in Portland. George Hill missed the majority of that series.
He did.
Kawhi, Tony Parker, David Lee. Maybe the outcomes are the same. Why don't they get the harsh criticism that LeBron receives in the East? Because if you call the East the Leastern Conference, I'm going to call the West the Lestern Conference.
Lestern, that doesn't work as well, but go ahead.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Because what you notice, Skip, is that when a team has the most talent, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and you look at the East, LeBron, over the last 6 or 7 years, his teams have been more talented. But you talk about the entire conference. You don't look at what the parts that's constructed on a particular team. Did you actually think, the West is so tough? Well, how tough is the West? If every team they played, they swept the number 2 seed, they swept the number 8 seed, and they swept, who else did they sweep? And the 5 seed. Yeah, you go ahead, answer.
May I answer?
You can.
I just made the case. They dodged bullet after bullet after bullet, did the Golden State Warriors. The injury god said, let there be Golden State. I just told you, they would have lost to my Spurs if Kawhi had stayed healthy. So I don't know how you want me, I can't do it any better than that. And I'm going to say it again because you have opened this door. But LeBron got 2 huge breaks dodging Dion Waiters and the Miami Heat, who had beaten him the last 3 times and were the hottest team in the NBA for a 2-month period in February and March before Dion Waiters got hurt and missed the last 13 games and they missed the playoffs. If
Dion Waiters was so great, why couldn't he find a home in Cleveland? Why couldn't he find one in OKC? He's that great of a player.
Boy, he found a home now because they were rolling.
Well, they should have. Don't you think they would have kept him after losing Kevin Durant? They should have kept him, the great player that he is.
When LeBron and company were struggling so mightily at the end of the season, again, 23-23 in their last 46 games, if they had caught Miami in round 1, let's say it had been 1-8 or 2-7, how fallen, I believe Miami would have won that series because LeBron and company weren't sure who they were at that point. They had nothing but issues all the way. And remember, all 4 of the Indiana games were there for Indiana's taking, right?
So the competition isn't that weak, considering that all the games that they played for the exception.
And I've told you this multiple times. If Rondo doesn't fracture his thumb or whatever, I guess it was his thumb, up in Boston after they had won 2 games at Boston, then I believe right now the conference finals would be the Bulls versus the Cavs, and I believe the Bulls would have won 1 game in Cleveland, and it would have gone back to Chicago, and it would have been game on in Chicago. And this thing would go 7 games, and it would be a battle. And I just might give Chicago the edge in that battle because they had caught fire. And they have this guy named Dwayne Wade, who is LeBron's big brother and taught LeBron everything he knew about how to win basketball games. And that would have been an imposing force on the other team.
Like the little emoji that's puzzled, I'm thinking no. What I see going on here, when you want to minimize or marginalize what someone has accomplished, you say the competition is inferior, a la LeBron James. But when you want to maximize or highlight what someone is doing, the Golden State Warriors, you say they have a chance to be.
Hold on, me in there. I didn't say it.
I didn't ask you a question.
Oh, okay. Who's the you? Pejorative you or just you, as in me?
The Skip Baylesses, the Joy Taylors, and
what?
Yeah, you.
What?
When you want to minimize somebody, Skip, you say the competition. No, I'm not asking you right now. When you want to minimize what LeBron has accomplished, possibly going to 7 straight finals, well, it's going to happen because they're going to blow them out tonight. We're going to get to that later. You say, oh, the competition is so weak. They caught the Toronto Raptors with no Kyle Lowry, missed the game. And George Paul, yeah, that's what I call him, George Paul. He missed the shot. They were right there for the taking. But when you want to highlight, when you want to maximize someone's accomplishment, you say they have a chance to be the greatest team ever assembled because they swept. How good is the West actually? If everybody, hold on, if all the teams are getting swept, how strong is the West?
Mother, may I?
Yes, you may.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for bringing that up. The top 3 MVP candidates were Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and they all reside in the Western Conference. And that's how strong the West is. The previous 2 MVP winners both belong to, oh, wait, it was Steph Curry. He plays for a Western Conference team.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, how about this here? The team MVP leading candidate, Russell Westbrook, 42 triple-doubles, won 1 game in the playoffs. James Harden.
Well, he's playing James Harden.
Skip! I'm not asking you a question. This is not rhetorical.
Okay.
James Harden, probably the number 2 guy. He won 2 games, lost on his home court by 39 when the team best player didn't play. Kawhi Leonard, his team just got swept in the playoffs. And so how good...
Wait, you can't say that about Kawhi Leonard. He got hurt.
Whoa.
Why didn't you point out that Kawhi Leonard had his team up 23 at Golden State in Game 1?
The same reason that if Golden State were to win the championship, nobody's going to mention Nurkic not playing for Portland, George Hill not playing for Utah, and Kawhi, Tony Parker, and David Lee getting hurt in this series. 2 of the 3 got hurt in this series, 1 in the previous series. No one will mention that. Everybody will say they swept through, and when they got to the finals, they won. And so with that being said, they are the best team. They're winning these games by a point differential of 16.3. That's better than the 0-1 Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. But you want to tell me how strong the West is.
I just said they happened to fall into no Nurkic, no George Hill, no Kawhi Leonard. That wasn't strong. It could have been strong, could have been really strong, but the injury god said, let there be Golden State.
So what about LeBron? When you got LeBron at his apex, you got D. Wade, who had been a Finals MVP. You had Chris Bosh joining a team that was a 2010 guy that was a perennial All-Star. And you see, this is what you do. This is what I'm noticing. No, not right now. No, put your head down. I'm not calling on you anymore. This is what I noticed about you. When LeBron does something, you're like, well, it's least. But when Golden State or someone else does it, it's like they're great. They move the ball. They play great defense. Why is that? Why does LeBron get the brunt or the blowback for being on a good team, sometimes great teams, when no one else gets that kind of blowback? Go ahead.
What did I tell you about Golden State? I was impressed with their killer instinct against injured, undermanned teams. What did we just see from LeBron James against an injured, undermanned Boston Celtics? We saw no LeBron James because it was another disappearing act in quarters 3 and 4. He went 1 for 8 in the second half against a team against which they were favored by 16.5 points at home.
Yeah, they stopped.
At home?
They stopped.
Really?
Well, Skip,
okay.
this was more about the defensive end, because when you think about this, Skip, the Cavaliers scored 35 points in the first quarter. They scored 42 points in the second half. They stop defending. Now, if you stop defending and you stop making shots, what do you think is going to happen? Now, if you stop defending and you continuously make shots, no harm, no foul. But you can't do both. You can do one or the other. They did both.
Okay, help me out. How many All-Stars did the Cleveland Cavaliers have?
3.
3.
How many Golden State have?
How many All-Stars did the rest of the East have? Did anybody else have 2 or 3 All-Stars?
Kyle Lowry and DeRozan was an All-Star.
Oh, wow. Except Kyle Lowry got hurt against LeBron's team.
You asked me a question. How many All-Stars did they have?
You teed me up for my answer.
Okay.
So LeBron got to dodge Kyle Lowry for much of that series.
So could I ask you a question? Has Tony Parker ever been an All-Star? Has he ever been a Finals MVP? I'm just asking because I'm not really sure about this. I know the answer, but I'm not really sure. Okay, what about Manu? Has Manu ever been to an All-Star game? Has he ever played in NBA Finals?
And your point is?
I'm just saying. So Kawhi, if you make it seem, what you're trying to do is that you're trying to make it seem like LeBron has such a decided advantage.
In the East, he does.
So what about
3 All-Stars?
What about Golden State in the West? They got 4. And they got 4 all NBA players. So are you making that same concession for them?
No, I told you they would have lost to my Spurs if my best player hadn't gotten hurt. And I'm going to go to my grave saying that. Thank you very much for letting me say that.
Skip, you guys were up 1-0 on OKC with LaMarcus Aldridge playing peak basketball. Hey, as a matter of fact,
you mean last year?
Yeah, I sent out a tweet.
Actually, we're up 2-1 on Oklahoma City.
If someone can find LaMarcus Aldridge, tell him the Spurs are playing a game.
How many times have I said that?
Maybe he can get there in the second half.
Yep. You want to talk about a sleeping giant? He's still asleep.
How did someone 6'10" disappear?
I don't know.
David Copperfield is a small guy.
You're preaching to my choir. Thank you for allowing me to say that today.
But Skip, this narrative that the Eastern Conference is so much weaker than the West, when Golden State just ran through the West by a record margin.
They got an easy path.
So it shouldn't be easy. The West is so much stronger.
And by the way, Golden State also got an easy path 2 years ago when they won it over Cleveland. Remember that? When they kept dodging point guards who got hurt? Drew Holiday and Tony Parker.
All I'm saying is if the West is as strong as you say it is, and others, they should not have caught any breaks. Because I guess, in other words, in actuality, and matter-of-factly, the West is no stronger than the East.
Baloney.
No stronger
Way
than the East.
deeper and stronger.
Huge injuries in every single series.
Baloney.
So I guess it's safe to say you don't think Golden State is the best team in league history?
Why, by going 12-0?
Yes.
They get the Larry
The first team in league history
do they
to
get the Larry
start
O'Brien trophy for that, Skip?
Okay, if they sweep LeBron, would you give him that?
If they sweep LeBron, I'll take it into consideration.
Okay. Good. We got there, finally.
Another big storyline from last night was that it could have possibly been Manu Ginobili's last game. No mercy. Thanks, guys. It's Joy. Before we move into the next topic, I want to bring in Skip and Shannon with a great offer for our listeners from Saks.
Thanks, Joy. Skip and I wanted to tell you about Saks Underwear Company.
That's right, Shannon. We all know that most guys settle for underwear that just isn't quite right. It's not as comfortable as it should be, or it should have been thrown out months ago, if not years ago. Nowadays, there are so many options to choose from, but I want to tell you about one brand, Saks. Shannon and I may disagree from time to time on Undisputed, but who can question the word of a guy who made the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Shannon, how important is comfort when you're working out?
Comfort is very important when you work out. You don't want something too snug. You don't want something too loose. You want something that will absorb the moisture, but you feel comfortable in it. And the more comfortable you are when you work out, I believe the longer you will work out. And that's the most important thing. So I am glad I got an opportunity to try Saks Underwear Company, and they're working great for me.
That's right, Shannon. Saks was created by a real guy, an athlete, and an outdoorsman. So Saks knows what guys are looking for when it comes to a good pair of underwear. Saks is more supportive than other brands out there, and it uses the highest quality material. Saks will keep you cool, dry, and comfortable. We want you to use Saks so you can feel the difference for yourself. Go to our special site, saksunderwear.com/undisputed, and you'll get 20% off your first purchase for a limited time only. That's Saks with 2 X's, SAXX underwear.com/undisputed for 20% off your first purchase.
Thanks once again. That is saxunderwear.com/undisputed. Our listeners will get 20% off your first purchase for a limited time. Go to Sax, that's with 2 X's, SAXXunderwear.com/undisputed. Now let's get back to the show. No mercy. LeBron James scored just 11 points in Sunday's loss to the Celtics. It's the 4th fewest points LeBron has scored in a playoff game in his career. Westgate Superbook set the over-under at 31.5 points for LeBron tonight in Game 4. We're joined by former NBA All-Star Cedric Ceballos. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And by the way, he is a Cowboy fan, just for the record. Just wanted everybody to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He spent
Everybody's a Cowboy
He spent
fan.
his summers in Texas, and the TV only had 2 channels.
Oh, so that's how it went.
Yeah.
That's not true.
That was a sign from God. That's why we have the open stadium, so God can watch his favorite
Well,
team.
it's closed now because he don't want to see that mess y'all putting out on the field. How about that, Skip?
How about the team that won 11 in a row last year and won the division? That's okay.
He's celebrating that. They hung
5.
division.
5.
He was a teenager the last time they won.
He constantly picks against the Cowboys. It didn't work out well for him last year.
He wanted to have a star on the side of his helmet.
He did.
You're
a wannabe. Yeah, you are. Yep.
What do you expect from LeBron tonight?
Well, from a very reliable source, David Griffin, general manager, is unhappy with his decision by bringing LeBron back. So that's why all this is going down with LeBron. He's going to be traded for Nick Young to the Lakers, and our Lakers are going to be back.
Wow.
That reliable
Well, that would be a
source
story.
is my small dog, Callie, but, you know,
Okay.
he's human. He's human. He tried to put himself in a position, the Big Monstar song coming out, he tried to put himself in a position where they don't really need me to be LeBron James to win this game. Right. And he distributed the ball in the first quarter. Kyrie, Kevin were recipients of it, just couldn't get going. Maybe he was a little too tired, a little lackadaisical. I mean, they were up 60 at one point in Game 2, big blowout in Game 1. He just thought he can cruise through it. And then when he tried to get himself going and just thought things would just click and get themselves going, they did. And it took a great bounce.
Yeah.
By Boston Celtics to knock them out. I mean, in overtime, they probably would have clicked it in and probably won. But, you know,
So you expect big bounce back tonight for the King?
I do. Even JR got on him a little bit and said, hey, he can't play without confidence. And I know LeBron is going to say, wait a minute, my teammate's saying I'm not playing with confidence.
That is
Maybe
correct.
I should start going back down.
That teammate of all teammates is saying that. Yeah. Wow.
I believe they'll be focused. There'll be a sense of urgency. That song does not get played in that arena without LeBron James signing off on it. Yeah. We know for the most part when it comes to the entertainment, he has a lot to say about what gets played and when it gets played. Yeah. And as you mentioned, he is human. But what we saw is that he was never able to get a rhythm because Kevin and Kyrie had it going so good in the first half. Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, they got it going. They don't really need me. We up 16 at the half. At one point in the third quarter, we up 21. So I'm good over here. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And next thing you know, Celtics, they stop defending in the third quarter. The Celtics start making threes. Teams that make 18 threes or more in the playoffs are 18-1. Mm-hmm. No matter who you're playing against, if you make that many threes, there's a, what's that, 99, 98% chance you're going to win that game, Skip. And that's what happened. Celtics started making threes. Cavs stopped defending. And when LeBron tried to turn it on in the fourth quarter, it wasn't there. He didn't see the ball going enough in the first half. And he's not a shooter. Contrary to what people think. Yeah, he's averaged 21 points a game for his career. But he's not a shooter. He doesn't have that mentality. A shooter will shoot the ball. He can miss 55 times. Number 56 going in, no problem.
Let me tell you this. LeBron is not that type of person or player. Now, I always analyze this with being an assassin when it comes to Michael, Kobe, and LeBron James. Kobe is an assassin with a razor in his mouth, and he called on himself on police. I just cut this man up right here. Michael Jordan just rips in, takes your heart. LeBron is not like that. If he was an assassin, he'd be 25 miles away with a high-powered gun, and you'll never see it coming. He's just not that type of person. Even when Kobe and Shaq were together, Shaq would have 30 at halftime. Kobe would be like, okay.
I'm still getting mine.
Let me go get mine, too. Michael the same way. Scotty start balling. Mike said, let me get to work, too. This is not that type of person. So he really wanted to hand out gifts. It was Christmas. It was Christmas. Just seems like the Grinch came in, and they were wearing green, and they knocked down a long-distance shot.
He handed me a gift. I'll say that. Right?
I
liked it on Monday. It was fun. By the way, you got the greatest voice. You should have been a DJ. Seriously. Is that not the greatest voice?
Yeah, you do the voiceover.
It's beautiful.
Late night with Skip and Jay.
I love the voice. I didn't love what the voice was saying, though, because I told this man this. If you're Mount Rushmore, and he says he's Mount Rushmore, after 14 NBA seasons, I don't care how much you've been distributing to how hot of other shooters. When the lead is dissipating and all of a sudden you're getting in trouble in a home game 3, up 2-0 on a Boston team that is undermanned and injured without its best player, Isaiah, you just take over. I don't care, rhythm, no rhythm, you just start attacking the basket because he's not a shooter, because he's not a very good shooter. I'm going to remind you again, he entered these playoffs as the worst three-point shooter in NBA playoff history. So you don't want him taking threes, and he tried one late in the game the other night. It's a bad idea, missed that. He went 0 for 3 in the fourth quarter, but he only took 3 shots. If you attack Jay Crowder, Al Horford, whoever else tried, Avery Bradley, whoever else, Marcus Smart, they can't keep you from the rim. You know and I know he should have been at the free throw line, camped at the free throw line, and if he even makes his usual 67% that he made this year, they're going to hold off the Celtics. And by the way, you keep bringing up that one Jordan game. I said, well, he's human. He was 3 for 18 in the 93 playoffs against the Knicks. And my man Tyler Korn points out.
They won the game.
They won the game by 20 points, but you swept that under the carpet.
Yeah.
And by the way, Michael scored, going 3 for 18, he scored 22 points in the game because he made 16 of 17 free throws. They're called free throws. Michael could make his free throws.
But they don't
LeBron,
call fouls on LeBron James.
They do too? Oh, come on.
Say it.
Please
say it.
stop
I'm
it.
gonna let say it, handle it. Go ahead, say it.
He's the face of the league.
They're gonna say it.
First things first, Michael was playing with a Robin called Scottie Pippen. So you're going to put Kyrie Irving in Love and Scottie Pippen's category?
Yeah,
Not
I
yet.
will.
Not
Together,
yet.
together,
Not yet.
I will.
Not together. You can put Morrison, doesn't matter.
Put Tristan in there, too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and then
Tristan
also,
and Rodman. So Tristan's Rodman now.
Yeah. He is Rodman.
Go ahead.
Thank
Make
you
your
for
point.
saying that.
Make your point. Go ahead, say it.
Go ahead.
So you're dealing with a different beast and different animal and different arrangement of games there. LeBron, in his category and what he does, he's not Michael, he's not Kobe, he's a distributor. If you want to emerge Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and throw a little bit of Kobe in, that's what you get out of LeBron James. So he was doing exactly what he did. First 3 games in the finals last year, he was playing the same way. Let's stay outside. He ended up being down 3-1. Once he got it going downhill, so don't just take this as, okay, the Celtics, they were dismantled, and they this, that, and the other. They was missing their player. And he just had a game like a human. He had a great stretch, 11-0, played unbelievable, 30-plus points. He just had a bad game and could not get it going. Lucky shot, lucky bounce.
Okay.
It would have been a different story if they'd have won. You'd have been talking about the same way.
But you were talking about Michael, pull your heart out. Kobe, slit your basketball throat.
Yeah.
This guy is sometimes too nice of a guy. LeBron James is a great guy. He's the guy you'd want to be your friend, but sometimes you don't want him being the leader of your basketball team when the stakes are highest and the game is slipping away, because this was a killer instinct game and LeBron didn't have any. You should just say, you should put this game in your back pocket. If you're LeBron James playing at home and you only take 3 shots in the fourth quarter, he froze up. I'm sorry, he melted down.
So the Game 7 last year didn't have nothing to do with a big game situation and him coming through.
He was really good.
Offensively and defensively.
Yep.
27-11.
So you're going to compare
Yes.
that Game 7 to Game 3 up 2-0.
What I'm going to compare is what happened last year in Game 4 in Cleveland, when all the ESPN analysts after the game, you can look up the video if you so choose, they fell down 3-1 because LeBron went cold and shrank and disappeared in the fourth quarter. And everybody was saying, LeBron, you can't play like that. You've got to attack. You've got to play downhill. You've got to take the ball to the basket because that game was there to be won.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, it looked like the series was over down 3-1. But something had happened during that game that kind of went by the boards. What?
He put on the suit.
Who put on? No, not during Game 4 though.
No, that's what I'm saying. After Game 4.
In Game 5. He went that
five.
phone
I'm talking
booth.
about Game
7.
4. He got called a word that's I can't
A
believe
boss.
that one man would call another man, but Draymond Green made the mistake of calling LeBron that word, that B word, and he got himself suspended for it. So he was not there in Game 5, and all of a sudden, the momentum switched. And LeBron was great. But then right on schedule, Andrew Bogut, the rim protector for Golden State, hurt his knee, and he could not play in Game 6 or 7. Super highway open to the basket, and to LeBron's credit, he took it to the basket.
Say it.
And then what happened at the end of Game 7? Who closed that deal? Not LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, the closer for the Cavaliers. He made the shot of
So if
shots.
Iguodala makes the layup, we don't even worry about Kyrie's shot.
Okay, but Iguodala got stopped by J.R. Smith, number 1, who cut across under him and slowed him up enough for LeBron to get credit for a big chase down.
And before that, LeBron James gets smashed, almost a flagrant foul, gets hurt, still makes a free throw, and still performs after that.
He was really
Just
good.
when we thought, like, oh, my God, here we go, the flopping LeBron James. He's not going to come back from this. He's going to use that as an excuse. That's why he lost the finals, because he got a flagrant foul on him.
He was really good after Draymond got suspended and Bogut got hurt. Really good.
He put a lot of confidence in Bogut, but when the Cavs signed Bogut, they said Bogut was washed up. He got washed up. But see, the difference between LeBron, Kobe, okay, Michael gonna snatch your heart. Kobe gonna smooth cut you. LeBron just walk by you like the Bond movies and the guy just fall.
Just falls?
You don't know what happened. LeBron, you don't know what happened. You think they're in church and say, hey.
LeBron's not a villain. We know this.
Hey,
he doesn't like it.
Haven't you gone to Baptist churches?
Yes.
When that thing, when they get in, they.
Huh? He doesn't have to touch him.
Hey, LeBron just walked by and people just.
Spirit.
That's it.
So, Shannon Sharpe.
Yes.
What's going to happen tonight?
LeBron, 32, 10, and 7.
32, 10, and 7?
32, 10, and 7.
Wow. And they win by?
20.
Only 20. Yesterday you started at 30, you went down to 25, and now you're down to 20.
Because he's not going to play.
That shows you're sweating.
No, he's not going to play in the fourth quarter.
Oh.
Just like game 2.
Just like he did last game.
Yeah, just like game 3.
Oh, Joy, you got
game 3. He didn't play.
Let me throw this out there.
Saying.
Phil Jackson, little teaching on Lou. The finals don't start till June 1st. That's a long break. Think they threw that game? To keep him sharp?
Just to keep it in rhythm?
Look here. LeBron, hey, you know what LeBron like in 8 of his 9 closeout series? Guess where he won? On the home team court. That's what he like to do.
Oh, okay.
He like to go to your fans while you got to celebrate me on the stage.
You want some clam chowder?
You know what's going to happen, Skip.
LeBron has scored 15 points or fewer in just 11 career playoff games.
Out of how many? 200 and how many?
210. But LeBron led teams are 5-5 in the games following those poor performances.
So will you give me 30 points for
No!
For a case?
Skip. Vegas says 16.5. You want me to almost double that?
You said 30 yesterday. Have
You're
some
the one
faith.
that laid it down.
This is Mount Rushmore.
I give you 4 more than what Vegas. 20 and a half.
4 more?
20 and a half.
Did you not blurt out 30 yesterday?
I did.
Okay, so put your money where your mouth is.
That was before.
Put your due where your mouth is.
That was before I saw Vegas had brought it all the way down.
Oh, what? Brought it all the way down?
He changed his mind after I told him about the trade rumors.
He changes his mind a lot, Cedric. No mercy. NewJersey.com reports Odell Beckham skipped the first day of Giants OTAs yesterday. The reason for his absence is unknown. Beckham had his share of issues last year, sparking Giants GM Jerry Reese to say it's time for Beckham to grow up. Last month, Beckham tweeted about his commitment to football, saying, "I will be working harder than I ever have to be the best that I've ever been. I'm more motivated now than I've ever been. Words are only that, so it's time for action." To the loyal Giants fans out there, I'm letting you know this will be something you've never seen. We're joined now by Chris Carter. Good morning, Chris. Welcome.
Good morning.
Chris, is Odell missing an OTA a big deal?
No. OTAs are never a big deal, and him missing, there's hundreds of guys that are missing them. I've talked to Odell. I've been in contact with him since the end of the regular season, since the Green Bay game after the Miami trip. So Odell is very, very focused. There are a lot of guys in the NFL. Their normal training regimen is far more strenuous and is more helpful than for them being at the OTAs. Now, unless they've changed the coach, change the offensive coordinator. Sometimes you have personnel as far as a quarterback. There are certain things, different groupings, offense and defensive line, defensive backs as far as the calls for the defense. But there's certain positions, especially as a veteran player, you can be better off served working out with your trainer back in your hometown if you're a hard worker and you're dependable. Odell is that. He loves to train. He's got a good staff of people around him. He will be better this year from a physical standpoint. Mentally, what he went through, I believe that he's grown from it, and he'll be better mentally. I think there will always be a little drama around Odell. We might as well just get used to that. And I'm fine and comfortable with that. But from a mindset, where he is, I'm very comfortable. But with where he is, I'm very comfortable with the general manager, Jerry Reese, said about him as far as maturing. Yeah. He knows that. And he's trying to do those things. But he's going to always be under a microscope. And him not coming to the first day of OTAs, yes, people would make a big deal of it. But does Chris Carter have a problem with it? I don't have a problem with it because I've been in communication with him, and I think he's on the right track.
I don't have a problem with it either because they don't play regular season games in May. They play them in September. Now, if he doesn't show up then the Giants are going to have a big problem. How much of this is contract related?
I'm not going to say which part is contract related, but at the end of the day, it's always about your money.
Okay. That's what
like the end of the day, it's always about your money. But he has no concerns about being paid.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
You mean with the Giants?
Yeah. No, I mean, he's making $1.8 million. He sees Julio, Dez, DT, Antonio Brown making $14 million.
Right. Do you know this?
I know. I know D receivers.
Okay, because I know Odell. And the money, like we've talked about it, and it's not a conversation. No. And I've made it clear to him what's going to happen. Just like all the other receivers that were top picks and have the same type of accolades through their first 3 or 4 years, they all got paid, unless they got kicked out of football.
In what year did they get paid? How many of those guys got paid after their third year?
Between year 4 and 5. Okay. That's when they get paid.
What year is this for Odell? He just finished what year?
3.
Okay. Go ahead, Skip. No further questions.
No further questions.
I think the thing with Odell that the other guys didn't have is Odell has cachet. Odell is making a lot of money off the field.
He does, yeah.
So to be in a rush to get to a contract, he's not in no rush to get to no bad contract. And him and I talked about this. Man, the Giants would be foolish to let him go.
No, they're not going to let him go, but that's my thing, Skip. That's why he acts the way he acts. Because there's no ramifications. He doesn't have to win.
Hey, man, don't be yelling at Skip early this morning.
He's actually yelling at you.
You, exactly. I'm looking at Skip, but I'm talking to you. That's it, Skip. What incentive does it have for him to do the right thing on a regular basis? If I win, I'm going to make money. If I lose, I make money. He's known for the catch. They lost that game now. Let's not lose sight of that. This is his first time in the playoff after year 3, and he's still the baddest man in football. But Skip,
tell your partner, he's in the pursuit to try to be great. Right? He knows how important it is. Now, he knows he
You can't be great if you don't win.
Skip! The man knows he's got flaws and is working on them. No different than any one of us.
Okay. I don't have a problem with Odell missing the first day of quote-unquote mandatory OTAs because I think it's advantage Dallas Cowboys because I don't think this can actually help the New York Giants. That's why. So, and by the way, to your point, I've told this man this before, but I got some gift certificate for Christmas to Bloomingdale's. Yeah. So Ernestine would live right by that big mall. So we walked up to Bloomingdale's one Saturday, and I look up in the men's department, and Odell has a whole wall of his line of clothing. I was just shocked by it because it's an entire wall of Bloomingdale's is Odell's clothing line. Now, that's pretty great.
And you can fit it because it's for skinny people.
It's tight fitting. I got one. I bought a piece.
Oh, Skip!
I did. Looks good, too.
You better
can't wear it on the
you better not let me catch you out in those skinny jeans, Skip.
Skip, listen. First of all, too, I heard you guys earlier, and I got a slight problem with you because Odell and I have talked about this. Odell is very excited to have Brandon Marshall there. He realizes this. There's certain things that Odell that he's working on, and I'll let him express those things because it's really hard to speak through people.
Right.
But that big brother or mentor, like, he has an ear to listen for that. And if you have known in covering sports, there's a lot of guys, they crave that behind the scenes, even though it doesn't look like it outwardly. So he's looking forward to playing with B. Marshall.
Brandon or Evan Ingram start cutting into the balls that this Odell's been catching. If all of a sudden Odell's catches drop, I don't know, from 8 to 6 even, he'll start having issues that we got too many other targets.
Odell's biggest problem was, it's not when you don't throw him the ball, it's when you don't throw him the ball and you don't advance the ball. You're not scoring touchdowns, you're not getting first downs, and you're not throwing the ball to us. We're no different.
Okay, but
than
Chris,
him. He's just a modern day souped up version.
Yeah.
As going into his now 4th year team leader, as really, he's really become the face of the franchise. Is that too much? I know Eli's still there.
No, it's too much, man. Eli Manning is
well,
there.
okay,
Let's stop. That's the New York Giants and Eli Manning.
Social media, he's the face of the franchise. Twitter, Facebook, he's the face of the franchise.
He might do more endorsements off the field than Eli.
Yeah, I think he might. So the point is, as an emerging leader of a football team that many think, especially this guy, have a chance to win this division, maybe advance deep into the playoffs, it's up to you to back up those recent tweets that Joy read with some action. And he talked about in one of the tweets, words are only words. It's time for action. So when Eli says, let's all go down to Duke, and I know it's just silly off-season stuff, but it's a team bonding experience for all the receivers to go down with Eli and the backup quarterbacks to Duke, and let's just catch passes and let's have a little camaraderie. Let's get together for dinner. It's just team bonding, and he skipped that because he was touring with Drake in Europe or whatever was happening. Then he had
Can you get
dental
on tour
surgery.
with Drake? I want to go.
No, but if I had the chance, I probably wouldn't have been catching footballs. I probably would have been in Europe. I actually talked to him when he was on.
That's the thing, though. I'm sure, let me lock on wood. I'm sure glad Johnny had one of them throwing camps. I'm sure glad John Elway didn't have one of them throwing camps.
You wouldn't have gone?
It'd have been hard for me to get there, Skip.
I think you would have gone.
I'm superstitious,
If he had
Skip.
called you and said, I need you there, you would have gone.
Because you know what happens, Skip? If I go to that camp and I get injured, guess whose fault it is?
Well,
that's how I look at things.
Absolutely. And you're not John Elway.
But if you're in as great a shape as you said you were, you're not going to get hurt just
But
catch.
I'm saying during the season. I'm talking about if I roll my ankle during the season or something like that.
No, realize most of our training, we are not running routes. We're not putting ourselves in harm's way. We're doing interval training. We're doing strength training. We're doing explosive exercises.
Okay. But to your teammates, and especially to the fans who might be naive to this, when you tweet, I'm working harder than ever, I'm more motivated than ever, number one, it leads you to say, well, why weren't you working harder last year? Why weren't you more motivated a year ago, 2 years ago? But if you are...
But his teammates know he works hard.
Okay, but then you do show up for the first day of OTAs just to... Your presence is required as a leader of the team to say, we're all in this together. I'm going to be here with you guys. Nobody loves this.
Well, I miss so many OTAs, now, and we didn't live in this world.
I missed all of them.
I had guys come to Florida. That's where Chris Carter lives. If you guys want to work out, that's why Randy Moss moved there. Jake Reed would travel there. Dante Culpepper came there. That's where they came. So I missed too many OTAs to think that this is important.
I asked Mike, how many days am I required to be here? You say you got 7 days. You got 5 days of minicamp, and you got a 2-day minicamp. Other than that, I don't want to see your face in Denver.
We even actually got Dante Culpepper's contract and Randy Moss's contract that they could get checked in with my trainer and they would get credit in their contract for their bonuses. So if they worked out 4 or 5 days a week, it got checked off that week and they got paid for being in Florida.
And that's the thing, see.
And we did it. We was all right.
And they wouldn't, see, they give guys, they put contracts, some guys that they don't think will work out, they'll give them a $500,000 bonus, $750,000, $1 million.
Yeah,
they're not putting that in Chris Carter's contract because they know Chris loves to train. That's giving away free money.
Yeah, Odell Beckham is not Eddie Lacy.
There's no workout bonus language in his contract.
He don't need none. He works out hard all the time.
Okay, so help me out. How many playoff games did the Giants win last year?
None.
Oh,
Same as Cowboys.
They went to South Beach.
How many
times they beat the Cowboys?
Hold on. Hey, CC.
They beat them twice.
Guess what?
Who won the division?
How many times they beat the Cowboys?
Dak was in his bed.
Tell Skip how many
Who won the
times
division?
Dak was in his bed at 8:30. Zeke, ain't no telling what Zeke was. I don't even go there. Jason Witt was at home with his wife and the kids. And guess what happened?
No, he was having dinner at Romo's that night, I think.
And guess what happened when old Aaron Rodgers came to town?
What happened? 28-28 happened, 31-31 happened,
and the throw.
And Mason Crosby happened with the 2 luckiest field goals I have ever watched.
The NFL should have done y'all a favor and gave y'all 1 week's head start in the OTA so you can get your Cowboy drama going.
I think we're doing just fine because we won 11
Odell,
in a row
do your
last
thing,
year.
man.
You know what happened?
Dwight Clark had the catch.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers had the throw.
The throw.
The throw? You mean that little pitch and catch up the sideline?
Do you mean that?
Wide open
Do you mean
receiver?
that or the hand of God field goal?
Yeah.
2 hand of God's field.
Stop it, Skip.
Hand of
This
God.
will be Odell's best year.
You think so?
Yeah. Maybe
Okay.
not stat-wise.
Yeah.
Well,
because he's got more firepower.
I will believe it when I see it.
What you're going to see is the Cowboys in second place in the division and not making the playoffs.
You better
That's what you
hope
will
so.
see.
No, I think the Cowboys will make the playoffs. I think
The Giants winning that division, though.
yes.
Shannon's trying to will that into
G-Man.
existence.
Talk it into existence like LeVar does, right?
There ain't nothing I can do to help the Dolphins win the AFC East.
No mercy. The Cavs blew a 21-point lead on Sunday, the biggest in LeBron's playoff career. Avery Bradley hit the game-winning three-pointer for Boston to get the series to 2-1. Game 4 is tonight in Cleveland. We're joined by Rob Parker. Welcome, Rob.
Good morning. Good
Hey,
morning.
Rob,
How's everybody?
what do you got for us today?
Yeah, internet sensation.
Yeah.
Dancing yesterday on
Was he?
yesterday's show.
Yeah, he's getting his boogie on.
Joy put it on the internet, put it on Twitter.
Oh.
It was all well,
Yeah, I thought
Instagram.
you did a good
too,
job.
right?
Yeah, it was everywhere, Rob. Don't worry. How concerned should the Cavs be?
They should be very concerned. In fact, Shannon Sharpe, I think that the Cavs probably lost the NBA Finals by losing Game 3. And what I say is they should have, of course, broken the necks of the Celtics, instead gave them life. Now they come into Game 4 and the rest of the series. Why should they feel like they shouldn't play hard and shouldn't push the Cavaliers? Because they won after getting blown out in 2 games at home, and then the news is that their best player's not playing, and they go to Cleveland and win.
Yeah.
So now the series could be pushed to 6 games maybe. There's Golden State sitting pretty, relaxing, getting ready to go for the NBA Finals, which was already going to be a tall order before. And now you mean to tell me that LeBron has allowed the Celtics life and now extended this series and wasted needed energy for a big series in the NBA Finals. I think the Cavs made a big mistake in not making this a 4-game sweep, which it should have been, considering what they did the first 2 games in Boston.
Well, it wasn't the Cavs' fault. It was LeBron's fault.
Right. Well, LeBron leads the team in 11 points in a game like that. And all the people who are belly aching at LeBron, how in the world could he not be a finalist for the NBA MVP? That was the game right there that told you why. Because LeBron takes his foot off the gas when he shouldn't. He doesn't have that killer instinct that you need.
What about James Harden when they lost on their home court without Kawhi and the
He
Spurs?
ain't the MVP either.
Oh, Russ, they won 1 game.
He's the MVP.
Yeah, he won 1 game.
He was historic.
Oh, okay.
Remember that?
Yeah, your story, his story. They'll be more focused. They'll have a sense of urgency, and I don't think it's going to be a difference. What's the difference between 5 days rest and 8 days rest? There's really not that big of a difference. It was going to be a tall order. I give you that. I still believe when they win the game on Thursday night, because they're going to win tonight, they're going to win on Thursday. Since he's returned to Cleveland, I thought you'd get a good quick kick out of this, you two guys. Since LeBron James has returned to Cleveland, 8 of their series-clinching games have come on their home or the opponent's home floor. 6 in a row. That's what he do. You know what LeBron do, Skip? What does he do?
So he said, let's go ahead and blow this game. Let's just give them this game, and I'm going to just act like I'm
Because he said if he goes 4-0, you talk about how weak the East is, while you heap praise on Golden State for going 12-0. But 32, what part about 32 did you understand? 32, 10, and 7. That's LeBron's stat line tonight, and they win by 20 plus.
20, how many plus?
25? 2 plus.
22 plus?
How about this here? If they have a 20-point lead going in the 4th quarter and LeBron doesn't play, I win. Because I don't want to be in a situation they're up by 20.
They had a 20-point lead the other night and they lost.
No, hold up. I don't want to be in a situation where they up 25, 30 points, and then the backups come in and they end up winning by 10.
It's called a backdoor cover.
Yeah, exactly. That.
Right.
I'm not giving you no backdoor cover.
And if they lose tonight, what would your conversation be tomorrow? 'Cause that's the one I love to hear.
Well, come back tomorrow, but you won't hear it. I haven't thought that far in advance.
I'll take 25 for a case of dew right now. 25. You said 30.
Hold on. And no backdoor
Have
cover.
some guts.
And no backdoor.
Courage of your convictions.
You gonna let me finish? And no backdoor cover.
It just is what it is.
No,
the game is the game.
No.
I mean, it's 4 quarters of basketball.
Let me think about it. I'll text you tonight.
All right, you text me tonight. Great.
Over a case
Rob,
of dew, man.
Rob, here's why I disagree vehemently with your premise. And it's not because I'm a fan of that guy's team, LeShannon's team, but LeShannon's team has had Golden State's number. And the truth is, Golden State has been relaxing for the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. I'd be fearful if I were Steve Kerr or anybody, Mike Brown, whoever, the hierarchy there. I'd be concerned they haven't been tested at all because the injury god said, let there be Golden State. So Nurkic couldn't play for Portland, George Hill couldn't play for Utah, and especially Kawhi Leonard went down in Game 1, and I still say my Spurs would have won this series, but it would have been a hellacious 7-game battle with Kawhi Leonard healthy. And obviously, he wasn't healthy, and they crumbled right before your very eyes. So what has Golden State accomplished? Well, they went 12-0 by this record scoring margin. Yeah. I give them that, and they had killer instinct. Once they got my Spurs down, they stepped on their throats in ways that LeBron didn't step on Boston's throat. But I'm going to remind you that in both of these finals, it looked to me like Golden State was in trouble against Cleveland because Cleveland's not afraid of Golden State. And I'm going to go back to the first final 2 years ago. Remember what happened? LeBron lost, obviously, Kevin Love before the final started, and then he lost Kyrie in overtime of Game 1. They're up 2-1 on Golden State with Game 4 in LeBron's house. And he did not have a good game that night. No. My friend Stephen A. is saying, we ran out of gas. Well, if he's LeBron James on Mount Rushmore, you just can't run out of gas in Game 4 of the finals.
But that's why you don't want to skip is waste any energy on a bad team.
But LeBron was having to carry the whole show because he didn't have his 2 All-Stars.
Yeah, Matthew Dellavedova and the big guy with the second and third best player.
Okay, but still, they were in position to put this team away if they could have just closed the Game 4 deal. They're up 3-1. And my point is, they get physical with Golden State. They're not afraid of Steph. They're not afraid of Clay. And the guards go after them and get in there, just push them out of what they do, push them out of their offense and get physical with them. And I don't know why, but that, again, last year, once the tide turned last year, they punked Golden State.
But I look at it this way. Golden State was up 3-1 before they choked because that was the choke job. They choked last year.
Yeah.
And now here they come back with Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. I believe that they will win the NBA Finals 4-0 or 4-1. I think that's that.
We'll just go ahead and say 4-0 then.
4-0 or 4-1.
We discussed this.
I believe that's the kind of series it's going to.
We discussed this, and you agreed that if they go sweep of LeBron, then you're going to have to talk about them as the best team ever. I mean, my God.
Yeah, they'll be in the discussion with the 86 Bulls, the 72 Lakers, the 96 Bulls. Skip, can I ask you a question? When
this means I can't answer.
No,
this
I'm just asking you a question. I just want to ask you. I mean, you say when you were on the
old.
You
should ask all the questions on the show. You're getting very good at it.
You say when you were on your old show, Stephen A. Hey, Stephen A. Hey. You said Stephen A. said that LeBron ran out of gas, and you said LeBron can't run out of gas. But in the series against Houston, you said Russell ran out of gas. Why can Russell run out of gas but LeBron can't?
Well, Russell, you want to talk about having to do it all? Russell has no help whatsoever.
So what was 35, 13, and 8?
Although, you know what? I don't know that I said Russell did. Everybody said he was running out of gas in the fourth quarter, and I just said play him. You got to play him. He's just got to suck it up and go.
I'm just curious because, Michael Jordan had a bad game. He's human. LeBron has a bad game. But you said he's a Mount Rushmore player. That's what he said.
Okay, but that night, that Game 4 night.
Jordan is a Mount Rushmore player?
No. If LeBron could have had a Mount Rushmore game in Game 4 2 years ago of the finals, they would have gone up 3-1. And instead, he went 5 of 10 from the free throw line that night. Well, it's just not good enough.
Well, if Michael would have played like he did from 96 to 98, he'd have never got swept by the big three Celtics. But, oh, well, it happened.
You still hanging on to that?
Yeah. No, I got... Hey.
What about 6-0, 6 MVPs in the finals? That doesn't do anything for you.
So what about the previous other 10 years that he played in the NBA?
I don't care about those years. I'm talking about the years he played the best of the best. He was the best.
Hold on. What best of the best?
What part don't you get?
Oh, the Knicks were great. The
I'm talking about
awesome.
when he got to the finals.
The Orlando Magic.
Whenever he got to the finals.
Well, playing Gary Payton.
You mean when LeBron played the Orlando Magic and Dwight Howard and they lost to Turkoglu and
they did.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, remember that? That was the year he was supposed to play Kobe. Mm-hmm. All the things. The LeBron versus Kobe. Kobe made it. LeBron didn't make it to the finals. To Orlando. You remember that?
Orlando was a very good team.
Oh,
the number one defensive team.
LeBron's the best. Forget about number one. LeBron's the best.
So why didn't Michael Jordan go? With the big three, the bad boy Pistons. You play when they played the bad boy Pistons.
Comparing Jordan
the bad boy Pistons. Why couldn't he beat them? He was the best. Hear me out, Skip. Hear me out. Skip.
No way, no how. No mercy.
We're going to Boston.
Last night could have been the final game of Manu Ginobili's career. The 39-year-old Ginobili got a standing ovation from the Spurs crowd when he walked up the court in the closing minutes. Ginobili said after the game that he'll take a few weeks to decide on whether to retire. Skip, has Manu Ginobili's career been overrated or underrated?
I have fought this battle for many, many a year, and I fear this battle is about to be over because it felt like that was it last night. Coach Popovich started Manu and felt like a send-off game, but he's always been underrated, has Manu Ginobili, by the people who didn't understand, who always came back at me with, come on, he made only 2 All-Star teams and he mostly came off the bench for your Spurs, give me a break. And I always said, give me Manu Ginobili with the ball in his hands at the end of any game because he is a surefire Hall of Famer. He was always my second favorite player to watch, to, of course, Michael Jordan. And the one thing I loved, just to watch. Manu Ginobili, what are you hunting me for? Why is that so shocking?
You need to be ashamed of yourself, Skip Bayless.
Hey, Manu Ginobili, basketball genius. Nobody I ever watched this side of Michael Jordan competed as hard night after night, dribble after dribble. He was right there with Jordan in just relentless competitive desire and nature. He was the heart and soul of those San Antonio dynastic Spurs, especially of the early 2000s. And in this case, every night he would pull off some play where I'd say, I don't know if I've ever seen that before. And shot after big shot, game after game. He kept Golden State from becoming Golden State a year earlier than they should have or would have by that game 1. Do you remember this in 2013 back at San Antonio when Manu made the last second shot in double overtime, inbound pass from Kawhi Leonard? And I can just, there were so many big moments, so many times that I said, that guy is the guy I want on my team with the ball in his hands. And Coach Popovich always said, the beauty of Ginobili was he could have led the league in scoring if we had asked him to or let him. He could have averaged 30 a game. You didn't see him in his younger days because you thought the Spurs were like eating broccoli. But he was not like eating broccoli.
Were and are.
And the point is, as Coach Popovich always said, he had that killer instinct, that step on your neck sort of attitude that only Michael Jordan had, Kobe had, Bird, and Magic had. And you say he doesn't belong in that. But LeBron doesn't have any killer instinct. Are you kidding me? If you could pour Ginobili into LeBron, you would have beyond Jordan. Sorry.
LeBron
so
is a
underrated. Underrated. Thank you very much.
He's not underrated. He's overrated. And you know it.
I don't know.
He's never had.
I got a Ginobili jersey at home. I do. I got a 20.
I'm breaking your house and steal it and burn it.
Yeah.
He's never averaged 20 points a game in a season. He's only had 2 seasons in which he's averaged 30 minutes a game. Skip, he came to a great situation. Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and David Robinson. Stop with this. What we do with European or foreign-born players, we factor in all the stuff that they did on the Euro side. He led Argentina to a gold medal in 2004.
That was pretty great.
Yeah, I get it.
When we were supposed to dominate and
nobody flopped. Only fish out of water flopped more than this guy. He started it.
No, he invented it and perfected it.
He's the reason why they find you now. They warn you, and now they find you because of him. That's what he's known for. But you need to stop this Skip Bayless talking about he's underrated. No, he's not. He's overrated.
Did you see what happened at the end of the game last night when Steph Curry and Kevin Durant sought him out and went over and hugged him just because they have so much respect because he hurt them so many times?
Yeah.
Who hit the shot that ended Oklahoma City's run and set up the 2014 finals when my Spurs, by the way, blew LeBron and company off the floor by a record margin? Who hit the shot to win Game 6 in Oklahoma City at the end of the game? The big three? It was Ginobili.
You know what? If Steph and KD went over to him and hugged him, you know what they whispered in his ear? Come back next year so we can bust y'all butt again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so for the last 2 games of this playoff series, the best player on the floor for my Spurs, again.
That's not saying anything, Skip.
No Kawhi, no Tony Parker, no David Lee, but by far it was Manu Ginobili. And I hope he plays again because he was a key element, a driving force of this Spurs team that won 61 games post Tim Duncan, and it should have been 63 or 4 wins if Pop hadn't taken his foot off the
still
gas.
been going home because
really?
the Warriors was going to put them out.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and yes.
And thanks to Manu Ginobili, with Kawhi Leonard on the floor, they were up 23 points with 7:53 left in the third quarter of Game 1 at Oakland.
Skip.
Wow.
Look, I get it. He won championships. He won a gold medal. He won a bronze medal and a few Olympics. He was Euro Player of the Year and his team. Well, I get all that, Skip. But let's be real. Let's just base it on NBA. I'm not talking about his gold medals. I'm not talking about his MVPs in the Euro. Just on NBA basketball. Skip, you know he's overrated.
Overrated how? I don't. Again, he should have been a starter, but they brought him off the bench because he electrified the offense when he came in mid-first quarter.
Yeah, because that's when everybody else starters, they taking a break, and he's coming in, lighting up the second unit.
Well, it worked. And it worked for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to miss this guy even more than I miss
The man
Tim
ain't
Duncan.
announced that he retired.
Well, it felt like it last night.
No, it felt like that. It felt like after the second game when they beat the brakes off him, and the third game when they got the brakes beat off him, and last night when it wasn't even close. And guess what? They're not winning any more titles as long as Golden State is constructed over there. They're not coming out of the West, but I know who will be coming out of the East, don't you? The sun rises in the East, Skip.
I know who would have come out of the West this year if Kawhi Leonard had
You
gotten
need
hurt.
to stop playing.
I don't need to stop playing.
Yes, you do. You're too big for this.
How do you explain they were up 23 mid-third quarter? How do you explain that?
Well,
help me out.
They got Manu. He's so underrated, he should have brought him home.
Yeah.
He's their second favorite player behind Michael Jordan. And he couldn't do nothing.
Just to watch. Anyway, Ginobili said that he doesn't know if he's retiring yet.
He know what he's going to do.
See how he feels. It'll depend on how
Why
he
you
feels.
say something about his hair? What about that hairline he got, that sunroof? You talk about LeBron.
No mercy. This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast, where we're delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Like us on Facebook at Undisputed on FS1. Follow on Twitter at Undisputed. And catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Monday through Friday on FS1. You can find us on Channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Joy Taylor. Tune in on Wednesday.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.